There's an awful smell in the studio. Someone has pumped in here, and I tell you what a way to start a show. That is... one of you two done it, because it certainly isn't me. Producer Chris, is that you? What a way to start a show.
I reckon it's his feet.
Oh, God, I tell you what, that is some... You've got some laugh on you. I'm keeping my hair up. Watch out for lunch, you can taste it. This is the XS Manchester Football Social, the Full-Time Devils takeover. Thank you very much. And the Full-Time Devils are back on Twitter. And you can watch us live as well as listening to us. Head over to YouTube and Facebook. Just search Full-Time Devils. I am joined indeed by Gaz. Hello, Gaz.
Hello, mate.
And Webby back. Are you back now, Webby? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate.
Happy birthday, by the way. It was Webby's birthday. We haven't seen you since your birthday.
Haven't we?
No, because you were off last week. So
yeah.
Happy birthday, Webby.
Thank you very much.
21st.
And United brought you a trip to the FA Cup final. So that's what we're talking about today. With the fact we're in an FA Cup final, surely Jose Mourinho deserves a bit more praise. So you Jose out haters that we see in the comment section, want you to come on and speak to us. 0345 111 7625. You still can't be Jose out. Why aren't you giving him the credit he deserves? He's got us to another FA Cup final, and we can have a difference of opinion.
Go on. I don't want to interrupt you, but I will say, you can be Jose out. You can be. And we want to hear from you if you are.
0345 111 7625. Get your calls in early. We're also speaking about your Arsenal memories. It'll be the final time Wenger comes to Old Trafford, and it'll be good to have a chat about the times when United and Arsenal went head to head and your thoughts. I've got a question for you. Now, you can't give me the answer yet. I'll give you the answer at the end of the show. When Wenger has played United, who is the player to score the most goals against him? 87711. Find us on Twitter at XS Manchester and at Full-Time Devils. Who is the player to score the most goals for United against Arsene Wenger? Gaz is looking confident. Webby, I think you'll get there by the end of the show. If you know, get in the comment section and let us know. But do give us a call. This is your time to have your say. 0345 111 7625. And coming out to talk about United for a whole hour. The smell's slowly gone away, but I'm scared it might come back for another return. Gaz, we are in the FA Cup final.
Yeah, mate, ecstatic about it as well, the way that we did it, coming up against a team like Tottenham, and before the game everyone's basically counting us out. I don't understand why. It was almost like they were saying it as if Pochettino had some unbelievable record with winning trophies and had done unbelievable things in the FA Cup.
Not won a bowl of soup.
I know, that's what I mean, but the way they were going on, it was like it was a given that they were going to roll us over, and then we turned up there and deservedly got the win after a tricky start. And now, coming to the end of the season, an FA Cup final. We had it the other season, didn't we, where we finished, was it 5th under Louis, when we sacked him? Was it 5th? But either way, when we sacked him...
Who's that, Louis, the new Arsenal manager?
We'll get started on that.
We won the FA Cup, and I remember looking back and thinking it's been a disappointing season as a whole, but to finish with an FA Cup, and this time even better, finishing in the top 4, it's a okay season.
Will it be an okay season? He comes second, FA Cup. It's not too bad, is it, Webby? The game was an alright game. We 1-0 down. Someone did a little dance against us, but you held it out 2-1.
Yeah.
A win for Manchester United. It
was always, as I said on the show, I was in with on Friday with Gio, and I said 2-1, and Gary looked at me and he went for Tottenham, but you can't fault him. Jose Mourinho wins big games of football. He's done that in Tottenham's own backyard. We've gone 1 down. First 20 minutes went in the game. They could have gone 2 up. Then we've run the show. Can you remember Spanish Dave having a save to make? After they hit the post, he didn't do anything.
No.
When Sanchez come to the party, great header. Great play by Big Paul. And then obviously Herrera's been all over the pitch and he's got us a winner, and deservedly so, because we wasn't hanging on.
No.
We could say 2-1, Dave's done that worldie, we've had that bit of luck. We didn't have any. The better team won. And they keep going on about this Pochettino, is he the one for us? Win some at first, then we will speak about it, got a bigger club, then come back, sir, but you've not won, like I said, a bowl of soup. So you're not going to get a big job. Now, for me, Tottenham is a big club. You look at their squad, it's probably one of the best squads in the Premiership. But he's done nothing. They can play nice football. But I remember Newcastle playing nice football and good to watch on the eye. But what did they win? They won nothing.
This is what I mean about people being too reactionary in football at the minute as well. I mean, you think back 2 weeks ago, Tottenham were the best thing since sliced bread. Mauricio Pochettino was going to be the best manager in the world one day. And Manchester United were in a state, and Jose Mourinho was apparently one of the worst managers in the league. And look how it's changed in 2 weeks. Apparently now we're looking back at Tottenham's season as a massive disappointment and United's as a success. People just get carried away after individual results a little bit too much.
2 weeks, Gary would say 90 minutes, it changed.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it takes, 90 minutes, you know, but we're a better team, and Tottenham fans or anybody can't come on and they had the 20 minutes at the start of the game, that was it. And then we lost the game.
Let's have your say on the final. Confident of a win, the FA Cup. Is it coming to Old Trafford? 0345 177 625. Talking all things Manchester United. Whatever you want to have a chat about. Some people in the comments saying Marshall in or out. Whatever you want to speak about today, the platform is yours. Like Kyle has called us. Hi Kyle, you okay, mate?
Hi, I'd like to talk about how we're going to deal with Arsenal's danger men this weekend.
Arsenal's danger men? Yeah, go for it, Kyle. How do you think we're going to deal with it?
I'd like to see something similar to the Liverpool game. Maybe Ashley Young again, like one of their wide players, as in, because I've seen a lot of people saying that Lacazette or Aubameyang could start wide and one of them start centrally because of the width that one or both of them provide for the pace. So maybe Ashley Young does a similar job to them as on when he did to Mo Salah. And maybe we override the midfield a little bit to...
Don't worry about Arsenal Sunday. They've got a massive game tonight and a massive game next Thursday.
Yeah.
They're going to go very, very strong tonight. Depending on the result, they'll go weakish against us.
Yeah.
And we will give them a right good idea.
The point that I want to bring up is this whole, and Kyle brings up a very good point about the whole Mo Salah thing, and everyone's singing his praises, shining his boots. You know, he's going to win the Ballon d'Or, but yet Manchester United were able to stop him. He wasn't sight to be seen. Where was he?
It's almost like they're a bit arrogant towards us, as if everyone's talking about Jurgen Klopp being this great manager. But I've said this 1,000 times to all my friends. There's no point of playing good football going forward. You need to have some tactics and a plan B. Like, I looked to Liverpool's bench, even against us. There was no real quality on their bench.
Indeed.
And Jose is the master as well with dealing with individuals defensively. I mean, you brought up before what he did with Salah and, of course, Ashley Young. And I think what you're right there, what you've said there, mate, about what's going to happen this weekend. I think we'll see Ashley Young play again to deal with the threat of the pace of Aubameyang or maybe Lacazette, like you mentioned. I'd also like to see Eric Bailey return to the team this weekend. Why wasn't he involved in that Tottenham semi-final?
I think he was on the bench at Bournemouth, and then if you notice coming out of the tunnel, he seems to be hobbling. Now it's strange. He's like an oil rig, and he's in one, he's out one. But I can't fault them two at the back. Last weekend, I thought he was superb. And I'm not one of the biggest fans of the pair of them, but for me, last week they kept the most form centre forward in Europe very, very quiet, and I can't knock him. If they play like that week in, week out.
It's not going to happen though.
No, it's not going to happen. Stop me there. Keep your calls coming in. 0345 177 625. It's not a full-time Devils takeover if we don't hear from Stuart. Stuart, how are you, mate?
Are you okay, boy?
Hi, Stuart. How are you, son?
How's it going, my mate?
Love you, Stuart, mate. Talk to us. You're on the full-time Devils takeover.
Well, I don't think the boys in the studio have quite a different opinion about Jose to the boys in there, so they're probably not going to like my views on Jose. I've never really been a big fan of him. I'll tell you why. When Sir Alex was in charge, it was very much a siege mentality. He always supported his players. Look how he supported Eric Cantona, because the world was going to come for him. I think Jose's different. He seems to wash his dirty linen in public a lot more. I think he can fall out with players easily. And I think at times, if you're not careful when you're like that as a manager, it can become a very toxic atmosphere. I still don't think things are quite right with him and Pogba at the moment, me personally. And I won't be surprised if he somehow tries to engineer a move for him away from the club, because I don't think there's something not quite right there for me. There's been too much smoke around them two. The tabloids are very usually not far away from it. But But we'll see. Look, he was great at the weekend. He pulled off a great job, and we played brilliantly.
Yeah, he was good. He was good at the weekend. But do you agree with Stuart? What Stuart says there, Gaz? Sorry, Stuart. Do you agree that sometimes Jose might have a damage on certain plays? You look at the two plays that people were calling for to be Player of the Year this season, and both of them were ex-Jose Mourinho players, which he didn't think were good enough. But yet De Bruyne and Salah were up there fighting for the top two. Do you think he might?
Not that he didn't think those players were good enough. I mean, Juan Mata, he got rid of him, and now he thinks he's an important part of his squad. He just didn't think they were right at that time. However, I'm just going back to Stuart's point about Jose and how he's spoken about players in public. I understand what he's saying. However, I feel like he's maybe being tricked a little bit by the tabloids, and there's I don't want to say completely making up stories, because like you say, there is no smoke without fire. However, I feel like they're building them up to more than they actually are. I think the only player that Jose has been out of order with publicly this season is Luke Shaw, where he said things in the public. That time where he had a great performance and Jose said it was all down to me because he was playing in front of me. Yeah. That was out of order. However, with other players, I think we have to take what we hear in the press with a pinch of salt. Yeah.
Right, we're going to go from thank you very much, Stuart. Always give us a call, 0345 111 7625. Get your calls in nice and early. The phone lines are going. United fans, come and have your say about your club. Alex, you're thinking Jose Mourinho, he's doing a good job for United.
Yeah, hi guys, you all right?
Very well, mate, very well.
Good. Yeah, I just want to say that I think Jose's doing well. I'm a bit like Adam, though, in that I'm not really Jose in or Jose out. I'm more Jose sorting stuff out. Because obviously there have been times this season when we can all agree he's done things which none of us agree with. I hate to mention it, but like Sevilla. But getting us to a cup final can't be coughed at, because it's not easy, is it? And Jose Mourinho's got a good record of getting to cup finals, and he's got an even better record in cup finals. So, you know, at the end of the day, when we appointed Jose, we weren't really looking, at the time, I don't feel that we were looking for somebody to necessarily play beautiful football. We were more looking for somebody to take us back to where we need to be, which is at the top. And under Jose, I feel that we are heading back in that direction, which is ultimately the most important thing.
It is indeed. Do you agree then, Gaz? Where do you sit on the whole Jose thing? What is your stance on it?
I think that he's done very well this season. However, I think going into next year, we need a serious title challenge. It's been far too long, and he spent enough money for us to do it last season. However, this season, should I say. However, obviously, we've seen City have been unbelievable, so it's fair enough there. But in the other aspects, obviously, it's been disappointing. Certain games this season, the style is, at times, he's been paying teams too much respect, and I think underrating his own players by the way we've set up in certain games, especially the likes of Liverpool away and City at home as well. However, as your man on the phone has just said, what we've done this season, you've got to look back as a good season.
Alex, can you just stay there for us 1 second? Stay on the line, don't go anywhere. Cam, we're going to bring Cam in. Cam, talk to us, Cam. What is your opinion on Jose?
Like, you know, I ring up every week and I cuss him off, but this weekend we got to give him a bit of credit, because I'm not sure if Kane was 100% or not, but they did get him out of the game. But like, what I was thinking is, lads, Smalling and Jones, they played unbelievably well on Saturday. Like, fair play to them, yeah. The guy didn't have a sniff, but don't you think them performances are too far in between?
Oh,
and then now, obviously, because he's won a semi, which is brilliant for our club, brilliant. Like, I think like it puts a lot of stuff under the rug.
What do you think then? Do you think it's hiding the fact that these semi-finals are hiding the poor performances of Jose?
You've got to look at it, obviously when your team gets into a final, these players who have not been really, really fit all season become 100% fit and want to play in the cup final, Yep. It's obvious. Can't knock Jones and Smalling from last Saturday evening. Can't knock them at all. Let's see him do it this Sunday. Let's see him do it at West Ham. Let's see him do it at Brighton. Let's see him do it against Watford. And if they do it, then they play in the cup final. So you can guarantee that one will get injured or one will make a right boo-boo.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like any player can have a good game on the day, but we know now, that there is surely, without a shadow of a doubt, that Chris Smalling and Phil Jones are not good enough to be playing for Manchester United for much longer. It's getting ridiculous now. It feels like at the point of every season, at this point of the season, feels like we're all discussing like they've had a couple of good games and we're all going, oh, well, maybe they're good after all. Maybe next season they'll be great. And it's never going to happen. They're just not good enough, and they're never going to be.
So can we know your opinions on Jose? You don't think he's right for United, but what do you think when you hear Alex, you're back on, what do you hear when you hear Alex talking about the fact that he is doing a good job for United? Do you think he's just not seeing the bigger picture?
No, it is. is, I think, obviously, been a fan all my life. You know what I think hurts the most is, like, you see them lot across the road, how they're playing, and now you see in Liverpool how they're playing, and then you see how we play, and I think that's a bit of a sickener for us all as well. So, but the only thing I don't like about Jose is like your man just said before, I can't remember his name, about Pogba, there's something going on. Like, I said to you last week, we went hell for leather to get him. He doesn't play him in their positions. Like, that's just what I just don't understand. It's just, like, baffles me. Like, cause I said, like, you know, like, if we spend 4 or 5 million as a player, yeah, can you play here 1 week here? When you're paying 90 million for a player, you must have in your mind, you know what he's good at, you know what he's bad at. And obviously, what he's brought him in for, he can't do the job.
Alex, does that frustrate you that he's not playing players in the right position?
Yes, of course it does. I mean, it frustrates all of us. But, you know, as I said when I first came on, you know, the bottom line is Jose's taking us in one direction, which is up, and that's what we brought him in to do. We didn't bring him in to tell him to play football a certain way. We brought him in to get us back on the way up, and the bottom line is that he's doing that. We don't necessarily have to agree with him, because when has Jose ever in his career done things the way that people tell him to do it? He never has, and I don't think he ever will. So we've just got to be happy that we are on the up, because can you imagine if we won the FA Cup and kept Louis van Gaal last season? We would not have gotten back into the Champions League via the Europa League last year. You can guarantee it, because, well, look at the Europa League the year before, and when we lost to Liverpool, that was just horrible, wasn't it?
Yeah, true. Alex brings up a good point there, Cam. After Louis van Gaal won the FA Cup, did you want to keep Van Gaal, or was it the right time to see him go?
I wanted to see him go, but I thought the timing was rubbish, because, like, we didn't even get to, like, basically, the cup was forgotten within an hour, because I think we won it at 5:30.
Yeah, was the manager. That's all right. Sorry, Cam.
You just want to give a shout out to Sir Alex. You watch that programme, The Feud?
Yeah, I think we all watched it on Channel 5. I recommend you go watch it, and we'll speak more about it later on, Cam. But it was a good programme. I wanted to, looking at the relationship between Wenger and Sir Alex.
Yeah, brilliant. It was a good. You know, Sir Alex, this is another thing with Jose. One thing about Sir Alex that he could do, he could constantly evolve his football. He could evolve his players. You know, with how time goes, from 1986, it was Liverpool, then Arsenal come along, then Chelsea come along. Anything that come in front of him, he just dealt with it. But I just think Jose's stuck, like, in his old ways when football's changed.
Do you know what? That's a final line there from you, Cam. It's a very good point. It's a very good point. It's a good line from Cam there. Let us know. Have your say. 0345 111 7625. We'll be talking to Daniel soon. I just want to speak to you boys then. They bring up some good points. You shook your head. I mean, you nodded, sorry, guys, when he said that line. Do you think Jose wants to adapt, or is he just sort of that this is my way?
It's a little bit frustrating at times this season. What I was saying before about paying teams too much respect, I feel like there's been times where we've gone into a game and we've all thought, right, we've seen what we can do in the last game where we played really well, scored like 1-4-0. Let's carry that on into this game, and then he's just, you know, shut up shop and essentially park the bus. And it feels like he should learn from that going forward, and he's just not changed too much this season when maybe there has been opportunity to. I mean, for example, in that City second half, we saw how we played in that, and hopefully Jose now knows what his team can actually do when we play attacking football, but I just don't think he'll change.
We're going to go to our final caller of this section. It is Daniel. Daniel, you're good evening, mate. A bit of positivity, Daniel. Jose, you think he's brilliant?
Definitely. Hey, boys, how everyone doing?
All right, my mate.
Everyone doing? I'm sorry for that. Guys, I hope you're doing all right. Webby, I hope you're all right.
Yeah, fine.
On the line, as always. Yeah,
lovely, Daniel.
Jose's been brilliant. I think Jose's been brilliant. All he's doing is handling these players and letting them be men of themselves. If we're trying to actually look at it from a point of view that we're supposed to look at it, is that look at Pogba and look at Martial. I don't think if we had Martial with the way he behaves lethargic sometimes, we actually get through games like Liverpool, Tottenham and Man City. Those were comebacks. You don't get players that if you lose the ball, next thing your head's down and next thing you don't chase it back. Sanchez had to break himself. He's smaller than those big lads, but he had to get it in if he still wanted to get something out of the game. And that's what Jose was just looking for. We don't have to sign the world players at the end of the day, as Lukaku even just said. at the end of the day, if the spirit is there, nothing is going to stop United. Because that's why I love Lukaku so much. He knows what is going on, and he's just trying to pull everyone together.
Exactly.
That is one thing Martial needs to get together. He needs to really understand that it's all that team spirit. Sometimes when you watch him, come on, we know he's an amazing one that came in as a young boy and defied all expectations. But when it comes to the gritty, I mean, look at Liverpool and City. They're doing their thing. That's good and fine. We'll leave them there. Now for us to face our own situations, let's call what it is, so we can move forward. Martial needs to get his head down and really play like we're having a Rashford here.
Go on, Daniel. The best caller we've had, Daniel.
Captain ahead of Martial. Lingard can be, even if you see him like a joke or whatever, when it's time to get the job done, we get the job done. So it's not a case of it's not Love Island. Yeah, good and fine. Martial is out here. Yeah, we love him. But he needs to give something back and say, do you know what? I'm going to play, and I'm going to play with my heart. And I promise you, with him, Rashford and Lukaku, we can win the Premier League.
Do you know what?
Daniel, you are the greatest caller we have ever had on this show.
Dan, I can't say anything now. What I wanted to say now, the man's just said it all. The passion.
You're a legend, Daniel.
You know what the thing is as well is I like Martial and I really want him to stay at the club, but every point that Daniel's just made then about him not being the type of player when you're trying to grind out results, you're completely right. He doesn't defend enough. He doesn't put enough effort in. He's often quite lethargic on the pitch. So as much as we love him, we need more than that to win the Premier League.
Daniel, we've got to leave you there, but thank you very much for calling, Daniel.
No worries.
Legend there, Daniel. What if you want to be on the phones like Daniel was then? What man? 0345 111 7625. Okay, we've got to take a 2-minute break now. 2 things to think about. Who is the player to score the most goals for United against Wenger in the Arsenal versus United matches? And 2, who farted in the studio? In the comment section. Was it Gaz, Webby, or Joe? In the comment section.
Or producer Chris.
Or producer Chris. Which one do you think was most likely that farted in the studio right as I lifted the microphone faders up? I'll see you right after this.
The Excess Manchester. Law.
Just want to say a big congratulations to Dylan Levitt, who is signed for Manchester United, signed a professional contract, one to watch there, keep an eye on him. A lovely picture on him, did the rounds with him and Nicky Butt with a smiling face there. So big shout out to Daniel Levitt on signing his professional Dylan, why did I say Daniel? Dylan Levitt on signing his professional contract. We are talking about who trumped in the studio. Have we decided it was you, Gaz?
Everyone's commenting.
Everyone's decided saying it's Gaz.
I'll take that. I'm quite proud of it if it was me.
It was something else, I'll tell you. Keep your phone calls coming in. 0345 111 7625. Andy Tate is on the way. We're going to speak to him, obviously, about Arsenal, but let's have your say on the FA Cup prices, the final. Before we get to the callers, Aob, stay there. I think I've said your name right there. Aob. We're coming to you very shortly before we speak to Gaz and Webby about the mad FA Cup prices for the final.
It's just ridiculous. They know we'll pay it, so they can charge what they want, innit?
There's a match, is it a couple of weeks before, maybe the FA Vars or something like that, and I've seen the tweet what the FA put out. Sit anywhere within the ground for £15. Now, that's these non-league club or whoever's in the final, but to increase some of them 70-odd%, it's an absolute disgrace. Now, the FA have spent that much money wasted on that Wembley, and it says someone's made a bid, American football team, to buy Wembley.
Yeah, mad.
Well, sell Wembley, pay off your debts and let us all in for the score on the 19th of May, stop ripping us off.
At least if they were to sell Wembley, put the money back into grassroots football.
Exactly. They won't know, Gaz,
make it cheaper. No, they won't do, and it's just another example of the sort of abandonment of the FA and especially northern working class football fans who now have to travel all the way down to Wembley for the semi-finals, which is the most stupid, mind-boggling thing in the world. Hopefully that's going to come to a stop, and then we see this for the final as well. It's just, again, ridiculous. It's not a working class sport anymore. It's not.
Have your say in the comment section, as well as getting in touch. 0345 111 7625. I'm going to give this a pronunciation. I'm going to give it a go. Ayoub.
Hiya.
Have I smashed it there?
Yeah.
Oh,
smashing.
shot, man.
Lovely. How you doing, mate? You're on to the Full-Time Devils takeover. What do you want to say today, mate?
I was just thinking about like Jose Mourinho. People make us. He's not as bad as people say he is.
He's not as bad as people say he is. And what have you seen? Do you think people are giving him too harsh of a time?
Way too hard. Like people, like the fact they say, "Oh, Man United is boring football." Like remember Van Gaal?
Yeah. Now let's speak about Van Gaal. Cheers for bringing him up. He said something interesting. Did you hear what he said today? He said that he's been offered a role somewhere. He won't tell us where.
It was a sausage roll. It was
amazing, and it would be lovely.
It wasn't Van Gaal. It was Al Forum.
It was Al
It
Forum.
wasn't. He's not going to get the Arsenal job.
Could he be the next Arsenal manager?
Van Gaal for Arsenal.
I hope it happens, but I can't see it.
And let's see Arsenal fans what they're going to say about it.
What are you going to say about Arsenal fans? Can you imagine Louis Van Gaal?
Arsenal fans out there.
Arsenal fans, he's doing a call out to Arsenal fans out there. What would you say? I mean, surely not, Gaz. You came in before and you went, I think it might happen. It's their sort of standard of manager. But come on.
I didn't say it might happen.
You said it might happen.
I walked in and I brought it up and you laughed in my face. And then all I did was say, why are you laughing in my face? There's nothing to laugh about. It's a possibility. I think Arsenal could, especially with some of the rumours that we've seen. And I know I've already said today we shouldn't rely on the tabloid press. However, some of the rumours saying they've only got £50 million to spend in this summer, Arsenal. Can you imagine them going to someone like Ancelotti and saying, come here, come to North London with £50 million to spend this summer? Not a chance he would take that job. So someone like Van Gaal is probably more their calibre.
It would be.
If they went down the lines of Van Gaal, Arsenal at the point now where they need that fresh break. No disrespect to Wenger.
They need to spend some money as well.
They need to spend some money. Wenger was reluctant to pay big until he went for Aubameyang, where he was under that much pressure by the club, the fans, the board to spend some of this money. You know, they've got to go big. They'll have to do the right man. Because don't get me wrong, I missed the United Arsenal games when they was at that level, and it's dropped because City and other teams have moved that gap closer. But if they go for Van Gaal, then they might as well have kept Wenger.
Can we just say it would be the funniest thing
in
in the
the
world?
It would be the funniest thing in the world.
Get Al Forum a few gigs in London as well, wouldn't it? There you go.
He'd be buzzing. Right, we're going to speak to Rory. We're speaking about Dylan Levitt. You want to speak about youth players?
Yeah, I want to talk about a couple of youth players, but the last call actually reminded me of something I wanted to quickly say. There are people, talk about Mourinho's style and how we play football defensively and all that. One thing I want to ask them is, would you rather have the results with, maybe not an attacking style, or would you rather be like Arsenal to, play some really nice football but not win anything?
It's that age-old question, isn't it?
Yeah, but if you look at the first Mourinho the other year, a couple of years ago when they won the league at Chelsea, how many games did they win 1-0? They beat us 1-0 with something like 32% possession. I'd take that all week long. It's all about winning cups, winning championships, winning trophies, And for me, I'll take it all day long. Like you say, we can speak about Tottenham playing this lovely, beautiful football and Newcastle under Keegan. It was great under the eye. Didn't win anything.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I totally agree with that. It's more about effective football than stylish. But yeah, what I wanted to actually talk about was, obviously, I think Ashley Young signed a year extension, didn't he? A few months back.
Yep.
And it looks like Luke Shaw's out the door, unfortunately.
Right, let me just I'm not going to mention the player's name, but don't worry about that left back position at Manchester United Football Club next season. It's sorted. And you'll come back to me in August and you'll say, well done, Webber.
ITK Webby.
That's the man. It's sorted, believe you me. Well, believe you me, that position is sorted. End of story till August.
So carry on then. If the left back position is sorted, who do you think else from the youth system might be coming up to Manchester United?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is if Young's going to be back up for a season, then obviously he's either going to retire or go somewhere else. We've got Dimitri Mitchell, Bothwick Jackson, and Joe Riley. I think can play left back as well, can't he? And I was just wondering who you would pick. Because personally, I'd pick Dimitri Mitchell, but who would you pick to come into that team, even if it is as a backup out of those three? Because not all three can make it in.
The first one you said, absolutely spot on. He was doing a great job up in Scotland. I know Scotland's a different cup of tea, but you've got to do what's put in front of you.
Yep.
He got a bad injury. I think the latter two you mentioned, I don't think they've got much of a future at United. I thought Borthwick Jackson started off really well and then just fell away. I've not seen enough of Joe Riley, but like you're saying, out of the three, Mitchell looks a great prospect. And to see he's a winger by trade, you know, I'd like to see him on that wing. I think he's got a good future at United.
Well, it's interesting you say that. I've not seen enough of Mitchell myself, to be honest, to comment too much. However, obviously seen quite a lot of Borthwick Jackson and Joe Riley, who both got games under. Was it under Louis that they both got games? It was under Van Gaal, I think. Yeah. And neither of them really showed too much to suggest to me that they're definitely going to be at United for the rest of their career. However, hearing Webby talk about the first player, Demi Mitchell, is very exciting. So, what do you make of him, actually, mate, on the phone?
To be honest, I always like to see players with work rate. I was watching some of the youth matches before he went over to Motherwell, and his work rate is unbelievable. He just seems to have that hunger. He stood out, even with like McTominay on the field. Dimitri Mitchell stood out for his work rate. He reminds me of Sanchez a bit because he will run all day long. He'll run, and I love to see that in the player. So I think that energy and that attitude is what United's all about. So I think out of the three, he'd definitely get.
Was it the Palace game he made his debut? It was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
the Palace
mega.
game, wasn't it? Towards the end of the season, Jose put a load of the kids in, and he didn't look out of place, and he like you're saying, he done well up at Arts. I think he was on loan, actually got injured, but I think he's got a good future. I like him.
Yeah, Rory, thank you very much for your call, mate. Having a talk about youth players there, the left back position he's done. I don't know what they're talking about there. Maybe we'll be saying that he's let one off again. And we're going to speak to, we must have Mr. Andy Tate on the phone.
Yes.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Andy.
How are you, mate?
Andy, did your dad like that shirt, pal?
Oh, he doesn't know yet.
Secret top charge. Even I know. I could have let it slip then, Webby.
The old Manchester knows now.
Good job we're not live. Andy, what do you want to speak about?
That's what I'm looking forward to Sunday, and the positivity of the last week's FA Cup semi-final, because I really didn't see us getting through, but they proved me wrong. And I was back in ears listening to it on Radio 5 Live coming back in the car, I tell you.
And then off to the final, but you want to talk more about Wembley then? Not Wembley, Arsenal. What? Arsenal.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at Andy mentioning another radio station while on Access Manchester.
Well done, Andy.
And then watch the fan cams on. That was a joke. Let's talk about Arsenal then. The rivalries you enjoyed. Was there any key matches at Old Trafford you remember?
Pizzagate in the tunnel, ending the 49 game run.
Unbeaten
that
run.
was a good one. Yeah, obviously the season before with the big missing the penalty, Van Nistelrooy.
That was mad, that, wasn't it? What was it? Where did you remember that game? The Van Nistelrooy when he missed the penalty.
Yeah,
it was frustrating, wasn't it?
It was frustrating because it wasn't a great game. If you remember, it was a boring game, and obviously that the chance to win it in the last minute penalty. And Ruud was normally so cool and collective at penalties. The pressure got to him, hit the bar. But you've got memories here. You've got the 8-2. You've got the
1991.
Yeah, you've got the 21-man brawl.
The 8-2.
The 8-2.
What a mag. I love that
the
one.
Best thing about the 8-2.
You got the 4-0 cup game of Raphael and Fabio in centre midfield.
The best thing about the 8-2 is looking back at the team that we actually played for that one. Amazing stuff.
Go on, Andy.
Arsene Wenger standing on the dugout on top. Where can he go? He got sent off, if you remember it, in 2010.
Yeah, I remember that one. Right, should we go through the lineup if we can get it up here?
Which we're going for, the 8-2?
Yeah, the 8-2.
I can tell you who was centre midfield for us.
Who was that?
Centre midfield was Anderson and Tom Cleverley.
Tom Cleverley. I mean, I'm trying to get it up now. Speak between yourselves. Who was the highlight, the players? Was there anyone at Arsenal squad you admired in a weird way? Van Persie.
Van Persie. He missed the penalty, didn't he? Van Persie missed the penalty.
I respected Arsenal for the way they played up to a certain point. Then they started playing really poorly. After like 2008, they could actually give us a game, but they've just gone downhill ever since, and it's their own fault.
Do you know what, lads? If you look at the Arsenal team that day, they were ragged with injury and suspensions, and the kid Jenkinson made his debut. He got sent off. They must have been that poor. Nanny was skinning him.
Yeah, he was.
To be fair, though, I remember Nanny always having a good game against Arsenal.
Remember the kick up down the line?
That's what I was about to say. That was the FA Cup one, wasn't it? The 4-0, and at the end, he just started doing these kick ups, and everyone around the ground.
Nanny was great on his day, just he didn't have that many.
He didn't have many days. I'll go through the lineup of the 8-2. De Gea in goal.
Phil Jones.
Wait. De Gea was in goal. I thought Kuszczak saved.
De Gea saved the penalty. Can I try and give you the team?
Go on then.
De Gea, Jones.
Yeah.
Smalling.
Yeah.
De Gea, Jones, Smalling. Evra.
Yes.
Evra. Right back would have been Raphael.
No, well, unfortunately.
Right, we'll forget about that.
Johnny Evans.
John Evans, right.
Midfield
was Tom Cleverley Anderson.
Yeah.
Nambred.
Yeah.
I've got
up front was Welbeck because he went off injured. Rooney and Ashley Young. Thank you very much.
Smashed
I'll just get me coat.
And tell us who's going to be left back next season. Andy, what score do you think it's going to be on the weekend, mate?
I'm going for 3-0 United because Arsenal's going to be too wrapped up with the Europa League and they'll rest players.
Yeah,
definitely.
Do you think so?
Yeah, no, you're spot on. You know, you're looking at Atletico Madrid, favourites for the competition. Great team, great manager. Going to come there tonight. Obviously, it's the first leg. Hopefully, for United point of view, that it's an even game. If it goes one way, then obviously it could. But Arsenal have got to throw all their eggs into this basket like we did last year. They're not going to get in the top four, so he's got to go the strongest team tonight and next Thursday, which gives us a great chance of giving them a bit of a lesson.
Yeah, 100%. Right. Thank you very much, Andy.
Love you, Andy. Sorry about that, mate.
Shut up, pal. See you later.
See you later.
It's got to be all right.
Not much you could do, could he? You ruined the surprise.
3 weeks ago.
This is the XS Manchester Full-Time Devils takeover with you for about another 15 minutes. So here's what you do. You get your calls in now. 0345 177 The number is across the bottom. Local call charge applies. Although it looks like a scary number, we promise it isn't. Come and speak to me, Webby and Gaz whilst you can. I'm going to take a little break now. It's going to be 2 minutes and then we'll be back with you. So stay with XS Manchester and the Full-Time Devils takeover.
Law.
Thank you for listening to the XS Manchester Football Social, the Full-Time Devils takeover every Thursday from now to the end of the season. How quick has it come? The end of the season is only around the corner, and hopefully Manchester United hold on to that second place.
Can I give you the goal score?
Yeah, so
I'm on a roll.
I was gonna give you right. So
I'm on a roll, mate. So I've got one player wrong.
Webby was able to give us the team that beat Arsenal 8-2. Now he wants to give us the goal scorers. Hit me, Webby.
Nane 1, Danny Welbeck 1, Wayne Rooney 3, Ashley Young 1 and Jason Park.
Ashley Young got 2.
Ashley Young did get 2.
Danny Welbeck, Rooney hat-trick, Ashley Young 2, Jason Park. Good night.
Congratulations.
Am I right?
You've got them all right. Yeah, you got them all. You smashed it. Well done there to you. Now we're going to speak something that not just for United but about all fans in general, and something Webby you can talk to us about, because I don't remember the days of safe standing. I don't know if it was safe back in the day, but standing up at the football match.
You couldn't beat it, Joe. It was, you look forward, standing next to your mates and getting the atmosphere going, because under the standing at United, under the lights, so many atmospheres there with not as many people in, was bouncing. I'll always go back to the game against Barcelona, Cup Winners' Cup. The ground was shaking, everybody was stood up. Obviously, Sal standing, the cantilever was up, but you Stretford End, your scoreboard, the scoreboard paddock, United Road, days were the days. If it can be brought back, great. I'd love him more than me stood up with my mates. Or it doesn't have to be mates, just fellow Reds who are passionate about getting the atmosphere going. Will it happen? We all pray and hope so. Do I think so? I don't think so.
The idea is that you go on get the petition. It's out and about on Twitter. If we can find it when I finish, I'll make sure I tweet it for you, but you will be able to find it. Over 100 signatures now. So they're going to be discussion.
100,000.
100,000, yeah, sorry. 100,000.
I was going to say it's a dismal number, but it ain't that bad.
Probably, yeah. 100,000 signatures, and the discussion then that brings it past a certain level, it'll be brought up in Parliament. Hopefully they're having a discussion to see if it should be brought up in Parliament.
If it goes in front of them, Joe, I
was going to say, because them lot can relate to the average football fan, right?
That's the only way it's going to happen, though, isn't it?
It's not going to happen then, is it?
Well, that's the only way. So, unless we put our foot down, let us know your thoughts in the comment section, as well as discussing Arsenal against Manchester United. The final time Wenger will be at Old Trafford. Will you miss his face, Webby?
You know, you got. I said it the other week there. Mr. Wenger gave me a lot of sleepless nights with the teams he built. You know, some great teams, some great players. You know, and some of the stick he's got from his fans is absolutely disgusting. Yep. Marches and banners. You know, it never happened at Old Trafford. And we was in worse positions than what they was, organising marches to the ground at Arsenal TV clowns, and all the banners get him out. Obviously they're not happy, but there's other ways, and it's going to be a very, very hard job for someone to step into his shoes, like it was for us with Fergie. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. Wenger's done a great job there. You know, obviously the last few years he's gone downhill a bit. He's made some strange signings, and they've got their way. The fans have got their way that he's leaving, but some of those teams he built and played against us in the 90s, and he proved it on that when you watch that show, we had to change our system to play Arsenal. There was a great team, and he will be missed because he's a character. And obviously, Jose's had his running at Chelsea. What does he call him? A voyeur, a specialist in failure. Yeah. You know, and he'll be missed. But time comes around for us all. It was the same when Fergie left. But I think some of the fans, what the Arsenal fans have given him, absolute disgrace.
Completely agree. He's not had anywhere near the respect that he deserves, I think, in the last few years, Arsene Wenger. I think he's an English football legend and an icon.
He changed the face of English football.
There are some players that have come into this league that we may have potentially never heard of if it wasn't for Arsene Wenger. Like, you know,
and they'll get 500,000.
Thierry Henry, Robert Pires, Freddie Youngberg, these types of players. And for him to come into that club as well at that time when Fergie was pretty much right in the middle of Fergie's pomp, he came from Japan and then won a league title the next year and then went on to do the Invincibles, one of the greatest Premier League sides of all time, the second greatest Premier League time of all time, I'd say. Arsene Wenger is a legend who just hasn't had the respect I think he deserves in the last few years because Arsenal fans are clowns. There we go, brought it back.
Yo. They are clowns. 0345 17625. Let's see if we can get you in for 2 minutes to have a chat about Manchester United. He's just got a really. What do you expect from Jose Mourinho in the next couple of games then? What's he going to do? He's going to play out the strongest team possible, get the results in, or is he going to try anything different? Will he move Martial out? Will you expect to see Martial playing for United now to the end of the season?
Yeah, you expect him to obviously go strong. You know, we've still got to cement that second place because it saves you maybe a stupid round to the middle of Eastern Peru for a knockout Champions League game. So we've got to come second, you know. So it will stay strong. Obviously, people will get rest over these next 3 or 4 games. And obviously, we're all geared up for the cup final. Don't expect too many changes on Sunday. Look at changes at West Ham and Brighton. And then obviously maybe play near to his cup final team for the last game of the season against Watford.
Yep.
So we've got to go strong. He deserves it. We deserve a performance after that West Bromwich Albion home game where it was absolutely shocking. So the players have got to be up for it. The fans have got to be up for it Sunday. So let's do it, Reds.
Let's bring it on.
Completely agree. I think it'll be very strong this weekend. And then for the last 3 games, I do think we might see just about every player in the squad get at least some minutes and at least some sort of a chance to get themselves in the final team. And I tell you what, I think that team in the final could be a surprise to a few of us as well. So let's wait and see.
How do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, it was a surprise in the semi-final, I think, slightly, to see Ander Herrera, a big surprise for me. I was slightly surprised with the defence as well. And it was a good surprise, don't get me wrong. And I think the same thing will happen with the final as well. Jose likes to tinker for the big games, and he usually gets it right.
So obviously we've got Arsenal, Brighton, West Ham, Watford.
Yes.
And then that's it. 4 games done. Do you expect 12 points? But you never really expect 12 points out of them games, but you should really look at those teams, expect us to have no trouble in finishing second.
You've got to look at it now, right? There's 4 games for people to play themselves into the cup final team. So these players who've come in have got to be up for the fight 100% by thinking, hang on a minute, and the manager says it, whoever plays well the week before or at Bournemouth and he has a stormer, starts at Wembley. Now, if these players now have got 4 games, these fringe so-called players, to make a statement to our manager to say, hey, get me in that 11 for the cup final, so I want all 12 points, Joe, but we won't get them. We'll probably get 9 or maybe 10, but we've got the capability of getting all 12 points.
I'm not sure if it's the case, but I think there's opportunity for players to play themselves out of the FA Cup final team as well, potentially. So
yeah, indeed. So then, tell us then about your predictions, if you will. Webby, what are you going to go for?
I'm going to go for 3-0.
3-0? Blimey, before I get yours, guys, how are the comment section looking?
Yeah, I'm just looking at what people are saying about, I think a lot of people talking about Arsenal at the minute, saying Invincible's not even the best Arsenal league side. I think that's one of us lot from FullTimeDEVILS commenting on that. That's Adam McCullough probably trying to show me up, or producer Chris. Who else is in there in the comments? Projeda has said about the FA Cup final, Herrera needs to start. I think he will do, with it being a big game. Mega Darryl says we'd be the same with Wenger as our manager. Not really sure the point you're trying to make. A prediction for the game against Arsenal. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm confident, and I think obviously it depends a lot on what happens with their game tonight. I presume it is.
Yep.
I'm gonna say 3-0.
3-0. You're both going 3-0.
Just before we finish, lads, I just want to mention.
Oh yeah, here we
Friday
go.
The 11th
little
of May,
plug here.
Friday 11th of May. Hotel Football. We've got a great night. A lot of money's going to be raised for a couple of local charities. We've got Gary Neville.
Yeah.
Q&A. We've got Mike Maguire, the Manchester comedian, used to do for another radio station. We won't mention their name. We've got the magician Dominic. If you've seen him off Twitter, unbelievable kid. Some of the stuff he showed me the other week was unbelievable. Food. £40 a ticket. Now, there's not that many left.
Yeah.
You need a ticket, contact Hotel Football or go onto my Twitter, United_Webber. You'll see the link there. I think there's about 50 tickets left, 40 quid for a great night. And hell,
do it. Head on to his Twitter, go get some tickets. It'll be a wonderful night. Webby, thank you very much for joining us. Guys, thank you as well. I'm off to go watch the Avengers and I'm buzzing about it. This has been the full...
I thought darts.
What? No, not darts today. That's someone else. This is the FullTimeDEVILS takeover. Thank you very much for watching on Facebook
and it
YouTube.
Was Gaz, not me.
And for listening. It was definitely you, Webby. You jumped. Oh, by the way, Wayne Rooney was the answer to who scored. Wayne Rooney was the answer. Who scored the most goals against Arsene Wenger's team. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back next Thursday.